Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I'm going to walk through how to install the Blue Ox base plate kit on a 2022 Ford Bronco. There's going to be 5 main components to any flat toe setup. Some vehicles may require 6 or 7. This vehicle actually requires 6. The 5 main ones are going to be your tow bar, which is going to attach the motorhome to the base plate on the tow vehicle, your diode wiring, which is going to allow you to transfer light signals from the motorhome through the vehicle when it's being towed so everybody can see you. Safety cables, which gives you an extra point of security between the motorhome hitch and the base plate on the vehicle. Your base plate, which allows you to tow or to attach your tow bar from your motorhome to the base plate. Base plate attaches to the chassis of the vehicle, so it gives you a solid mounting connection. Braking system, which allows the vehicle to not only slow but stop itself, so we're not relying on the brakes on the motorhome to slow and stop both vehicles. The 6th component that this vehicle is going to require, since the vehicle brake light switch cannot be used, it's going to require a stoplight switch. The stoplight switch can be found here at etrailer. This is what our base plate is going to look like when it's installed. This is going to attach to the chassis of the vehicle to give you a solid connection point between the tow bar and your motorhome. It's going to have a nice cap, so when it's not being used, you can fill that hole there so it keeps any dirt and grime from getting in there. It is going to come with removable arms. The pin is spring loaded, so you'd simply slide it in, twist it until that pin locks into place. To remove it, simply pull the ring and slide it out. And when you're looking for a base plate for your vehicle, the Ford Bronco has several different trim levels. What you need to look at is look at your bumper. You're going to have base plates for bumpers with D-rings. You're going to have base plates for bumpers with tow hooks. The way you can tell is your D-rings will be located in this area. Your tow hooks will be located in this area. If your bumper looks like this and you do not have a D-ring, whether it's the ring style where you can raise it up, it's a solid one where it runs up and down like this. If you don't have one in there, then you're going to need one that goes in place of your tow hooks. To get your vehicle hooked up to your motorhome, we need to start by hooking up the tow bar. You need to get it close enough so that the tow bar will reach the removable arms on the tow bar itself. If you don't have a bag, etrailer bag, it's a universal bag. It's going to fit on pretty much any tow bar that's out there. Nice durable bag. It's going to help keep your tow bar clean when you're not using it, and it allows you to leave it on the back of the motorhome. It keeps the weather off it. So we'll start by removing that. You want to fold down and spread your arms out. Line it up with the tabs. Slide the pin through, put on the cinch pin. Do the same thing on the other side. Then we'll move to the safety cables. You want to take the one from the passenger side on the motorhome. It needs to go to the driver's side on the vehicle. Vice versa, or the opposite one. And to make sure they're crisscross on the motorhome side. Once you have those on, then you can hook up your wiring. Make sure you push your plug in all the way so it will stay in place. You're going to take your cinch cable for your breakaway switch. It needs to be hooked on to the hitch on the motorhome and not to anything else. Once you've got it all hooked up, I do recommend testing your lights again, maybe testing them again each time you hook up, just to make sure everything's working correctly. Get your vehicle set in tow mode. I also recommend having a second person stand outside, pull forward a couple feet just to make sure all the wheels are turning on the vehicle. The base plate kit is going to come with a bracket that allows you to mount your breakaway switch for your braking system onto a factory bolt behind the bumper. As far as the installation process is not hard. You are going to have to remove the bumper, you are going to have to remove the belly pan. You can do this in your garage or in your driveway with a few simple tools. If it's something you may not have the time to do or the space to do, you can always check out our dealer locator and find someone near you that is able to put it in. If you do want to do it, I promise you, you can get it done. Follow along with me and I'll walk through how to do it now. Start our installation. We need to pop out this panel and this one. Don't just pull them off because you have sensors. If you have sensors on there, we're going to need to disconnect them. Flip them over. There's a little tab here. You might need a screwdriver, a little flathead screwdriver or something to stick it in this end. To pop that up over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. On each side of the vehicle, we're going to take a 15mm socket. We're going to remove these 3 bolts. What I recommend is one of the bolts on each side, just kind of hand thread it in because the bumper is going to be loose and we have wiring we need to disconnect on this side, on our driver's side, up behind this panel. So you might not be able to see it, but you need to reach up. There's a little tab right there. Push on that tab and you'll be able to disconnect that wire. Come back, take your bolts off. Then we can set the bumper aside. Next, we're going to take our 15mm socket. We're going to remove the 6 bolts holding our skid plate in place. We're going to have 2 back here, 2 here, and 2 straight up above your tow hooks. Slide our skid plate off, we'll set it aside. Next, we remove this cover. We're going to reach right up behind it here. You're just going to kind of pinch. You got 2 little tabs, one on each side. Push them in and slide it out. Do the same thing on the other side. Next, we'll take our 15mm socket. We need to remove the 2 bolts holding our tow hooks in place. Might need to use a wrench to break them free first. You want to make sure you're using red Loctite on all of your hardware that you're installing on the base plate. It doesn't come with your kit. This plate is going to go against this edge here. This is going to go right over top of this bumper, and this safety chain loop is going to be on the inside. So we're going to take this, it's going to fit right up where our tow hook used to be. We're going to use our existing hardware that we removed from our tow hook. We're going to feed it up through the bottom and thread it into the existing holes. Next, we're going to come back and we're going to tighten those bolts down. You want to make sure you're pushing up and in. We want to make sure that this plate is sitting flat against there, and this bracket is sitting flat up against your frame rail. We're We're going to repeat that on the other side. Once you get your 2 bolts tightened on each side, go ahead and torque them to the specifications listed in the instructions for that manufacturer's bolt size. Next thing we need to do is this hole right here, we need to drill it out to a 1/2 inch. I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch drill bit to get my pilot hole in the center or to get my mark in the center. I'm going to go down to a small drill bit and work my way up to the 1/2 inch. If you do that, it'll be a lot easier on your drill bits and it will be a lot easier on your shoulders. Take a 3/4 inch socket and wrench, put the bolt head in it, slide it up into the frame rail and out through the hole. Make sure you use red Loctite. You're going to put on a lock washer and then a nylon lock nut. Once you get it tightened, you're going to come back, you're going to torque it to the specifications in the instructions. Once you get it torqued, repeat the process on the other side. And the last thing you're going to do is put on your safety chain straps. You need to connect your ring to this back hole in your base plate and go up over top of the frame rail. Just make sure you're staying away from any moving parts like your belts or pulleys or anything like that. Now that we have our diode wiring ring to the front, we have our base plate in place. It's a good idea while you have your bumper off to go ahead and install any remaining components like your breakaway switch for your braking system before you do any trimming or anything like that. For the breakaway switch, your base plate is going to come with this little bracket. This is an optional thing, and actually if you take this bolt out, you mount this bracket right there, your breakaway switch will mount here and come out just above your lower pan here. There will also be some trimming that we'll do later on, but I think this is where I'm actually going to mount it. I think this is a pretty good spot for it. Once you get all your components put in, go ahead and reinstall your belly pan. You are going to have to do some trimming. Best way to do it is line it up, stick it on there and line it up as best as you can. You're going to trim a little bit down on the ends down here to fit it around the base plate. Also, if you mounted your breakaway switch up here, where I had mentioned earlier, you're going to have to trim a little bit around there. And then mount your 6-pole plug for your diode wiring. I did it how they had it in there, mount it right here on the bottom of our pan. Once you're all trimmed out, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at installation of the Blue Ox base plate kit on a 2022 Ford Bronco.